Beginning here with the breath. Let these next few breaths that we take be the biggest, deepest breaths of the entire day so far. Extra effort for the lungs to be to capacity, or at least close to capacity. Using the energy of that deep, relaxing breath, we take a moment to check in with ourselves on all levels. Checking in with ourselves physically, scan through your body. Checking in with us mentally. How is our brain doing? How are our thoughts going? Are we racing one thought after the other, or are they beginning this process of slowing down? Checking in with ourselves emotionally. What word would we choose to describe how we feel right at this moment? Checking in with ourselves spiritually. How energized do we feel for the direction our life is taking? The intention today is about getting ourselves out of stagnancy. In these days that are colder, like this week, there tends to be this special winter kind of stagnation where we kind of go into hibernation mode. We wrap a blanket around ourselves and we go on the sofa and we don't move for hours on end. And so that kind of stagnancy is what we're trying to move away out of today. Not necessarily by any physical effort. It's all relaxing, releasing, restorative poses today, but rather through simply the action of moving into our body, letting our body stretch and letting the very cells and the muscles elongate. And so, with that idea, moving out of stagnation to lead us into our beautiful practice today, we'll begin with the knees coming into the chest, a hand on each knee, and allow yourself some time to rock those knees all around. Try to find a comfortable way to move. If nothing else, this is a way to check in with our body, checking in with the low back, and with the hips, and with the sacrum. And so from here, we're going to release the left leg. As we release it, it's welcome to extend long back down to the ground. And with both hands around the right knee, we'll start to take this right knee directly in toward the direction of right shoulder. So this is an easing into this place. We're inviting this right hip to begin the process of removing any stagnation that might be present there. Perhaps you visualize stagnation as darkness, like a shadow or like the dark night of the soul. And so heading toward this simple stretch, it's almost like we're introducing light into the area that's receiving the deepest movement, the deepest stretch here. So continue to pull it in and keep your breath flowing into the belly. Backing out of this angle a little bit. Start to aim this right knee more toward the direction of left shoulder. It won't be able to be pulled in nearly so deep, but that 3 or 4 inches that it can travel starts to aim us into this outer right hip area. So begin to receive and breathe into that area of the hip. Imagining lights turning on in that area. And backing out of this spot, start to let the right knee go super wide over to the right side. You can keep both hands clasped, or you could just let the right hand take over. Whatever helps the inner thigh area. Begin to receive some light. Start to breathe into that spot. Here we're going to start taking 3 very slow cycles. Lifting this right knee up, we pass it into the left hand. It crosses over the body partway toward a twist. It doesn't have to aim all the way to a twist. But when you make it a good spot, where you start to feel it in the outer thigh, then let the right leg return all the way back out wide to the right. We'll do 2 more cycles, nice and slow, getting into that entire hip socket. And returning. 1 more. After we complete those 3 rounds, we'll take the leg over the body 1 more time, all the way across, this time staying in the spinal twist. Know that this twist absolutely does not have to be forceful. You do not have to have the knee trying to aim to the ground or anything like that. Instead, get, in partway into the twist, and then start to let gravity take over. And just let gravity help to release the muscles of the back, gradually opening them as they will over time with breath and patience. This right hip begins to return down to the ground. Let the right leg stretch up to the sky. Hands can help, maybe behind thigh, maybe behind calf. Make this an extension for the leg, but also a nice restorative release. So not too much effort, just that perfect amount. This could have a gentle, slow pulse, bending and straightening the leg. You could stay in straightness, trying to pull the leg in toward a decent stretch. Just listen to the right leg and ask it, how can I help remove stagnancy in these areas? And then being present, stay or move with those qualities. Not only are we stretching the muscles all along the backside of the leg, but also in this moment, blood pressure in the foot is almost zero. That doesn't happen very often because our feet have to work so hard all day long. So just be present with that release, even into the foot. It's like by letting the blood pressure lower and letting some of the blood drain, we're giving that foot even a chance to be without stagnancy, without swelling. So be present here with that foot and with the leg for another good inhale. And then with the exhale, one more stretch before we switch sides. Take this right ankle up onto left thigh. The left leg starts to come in. Once we've got the ankle up on the thigh, you can either push the right hand into that knee, helping the hip rotate open, or you could thread the arms around the left side, setting up for that deeper hug position. Tune in with your body. Stillness is beautiful. A slight rock left and right could be what the doctor ordered, in a way, what your body might be asking for to remove stagnancy. So just be present with it to find the proper quality. Beautiful inhale. And exhale. When we release this right leg, begin to extend it all the way long onto the ground. Take a moment just to feel that entire right leg. Scanning through that right leg, we can very much feel all the release that it's had away from stagnancy. So then when you're ready to work on left, start to hug the hands around left knee. First, we pull left knee in toward the direction of left shoulder. Backing off slightly, we can aim the left knee toward right shoulder, that inch or two that it can make it. Backing off, the knee goes very wide to the left. Whatever hand position you took on the other side, take this one, whether it's keeping both hands there or completely relaxing the right hand away. Curiously, when the body goes towards stagnancy, the mind has this tendency to do anything but that. So see if with the back of the head resting on the ground, imagine pulling a plug on the back of the skull, and the thoughts that arise, they're present, but they just kind of drain away. So from that mental state, we begin to pass this knee back and forth over to the right for a partial twist, and over to the left. We take it 3 times total. When you finish the 3rd round, back at the left side, then we can let the leg return to the right one more time, this time to stay in the twist. Notice how your breath affects the twist. There is not really ever true stagnancy of the body until perhaps death happens, because breath is constantly flowing in and out. So nothing ever quite stops with our system. Another good relaxing breath in and out. And then we'll start to return the hips down. Left leg begins to reach upward. It can be a soft knee, it can be a straight knee, it could be a pulsation, bending and straightening. Find the quality that helps this leg remove stagnation, blackness, shadows that might be present. Notice at first it was all about the hamstring and the calf area, the back side of the leg. But perhaps draw attention to that foot as we give it just a few more breaths to enjoy that release of stagnation and swelling in that area of our body. Take another good inhale. And then exhale, we place this left ankle up on right thigh. Perhaps you're hugging the hands around the right side immediately, or perhaps you prefer the foot to stay on the ground with a gentle pressure on that left knee. If there's any clenching in the muscles of that hip, see if you can ease out of the clenching. And notice if that brings you to a whole new state of releasing stagnation. Another beautiful inhale. And as we start to take the exhale, perhaps we pause for a moment, dropping that left leg all the way to the ground so that we can tune into how that left side feels. It's as if there's so much more light present in this moment. So if there's simple movements that want to happen, such as windshield wiper, give your body a few moments to take care of anything that will help to reset us in an even better spot. And then at some point, when the body feels ready to come up toward a seated place, choose how you would like to head toward that shape. Perhaps rocking up, perhaps rolling to the side and pressing up. When we make our way there, we'll find a cobbler's pose. You can choose, feet can be really tight in, or feet can be quite a bit further today. Listen to how the hips receive this shape, and then continue to allow the spine to release up and over. Feel how this is a whole new area of our body, releasing the stagnation. And so what can we do to help that process, help that journey? Sometimes the head might want to rock just a little bit right and left, relieving some neck tension. Sometimes there's this concentration on letting the spine be very heavy, continuing to sink down toward the ground. So just notice what's helping you release the stagnant areas. Bringing a greater amount of light to the spine. Finding the hands releasing to the ground. Take a moment to just naturally extend the arms forward, nothing forceful. Just letting that extension through the arms happen. And then from that extension, we're going to come up onto our fingertips, lifting the palms. And then just like a spider walking, begin to walk the fingertips as far over to the left This feels good without allowing right hip to lift at all. So choose that good angle. When you find the depth that feels appropriate, perhaps you drop the palms back down toward the ground. Lifting up to the fingertips. Start to spider crawl, walk back through the center. Feel how the spine is responding. And eventually off to the other side. Again, go as far as it still feels good and is not lifting opposite hip. Perhaps palms drop if you like that. Spider crawl back forward. When you're there, give your spine another 2 or 3 breaths to receive this forward alignment. And then the hands walk toward us to support the spine lifting back up. Once we're up tall, pick up the knees. The legs are coming together. And we're going to hug around the thighs. Some people can reach for forearms, some people all the way to elbows. The idea is that we're gluing our torso down onto the thighs. This is setting up our hips in this tightest arrangement that it can get toward the forward fold. So from here, one foot inches its way a couple of inches forward, and then the other foot. And you're going to continue that walking forward process until the moment where your torso feels like it has to start breaking away from the hug. That tells you that that's the edge of your flexibility. And so then that's where we'll pause and breathe. Some people are almost at the beginning, some people are almost at the end. It's not a competition. It's just including the low back and the hips, the glutes, the hamstrings in a deeper way than normally we do include them when we're going in a forward fold. If the head's able to just drop on the knees, let that shape take place and keep breathing into the belly. Take 3 more breaths. Imagine you're breathing all the way into the spine. And then as we start to release the hug, the hands find their way planting on the ground. And then we start to straighten the arms to press our way up. This supports the spine after such a deep stretch. So then from there, we're going to head our left leg open and our right foot tucks in. From this shape, left hand goes onto the ground in front of the left leg. You could also sometimes lower the elbow either all the way to the ground or a little bit closer down. From that position, this right shoulder is able to be peeled back. And from this stacked alignment, the right arm starts to reach up to the sky and over toward the direction of the toes. You can feel the ribs, shoulder, and the back all receive this stretch. So the goal here is to remove stagnancy. So if simply pausing in a good spot is the best thing we can do for this area, that's beautiful. If you'd like to have a little bit of flow, you can go back and forth between pulling the thumb backwards as much as the shoulder will allow, and then rounding the shoulder forward, maybe fingers go toward the ground. If that feels like it's opening good things, perhaps continue that motion. If you find a tightest spot and you just like to pause and breathe, that is absolutely fine as well. Just move into the space with care and with patience. If you've been in motion, perhaps you find a spot to pause and breathe. 3 more breaths on this side. Walk the hands in to support our spine, and then we'll switch the legs out. You get there, same thing, second side, right hand or maybe right elbow downward. Start by peeling that left shoulder open before left arm reaches. We have a few breaths just to pause. And if the rhythmic flow wants to happen on this side as well, pull that thumb open backwards and round the shoulder forward, fingers maybe grazing the ground. Imagine all the tension we feel in our back all day long. And here we're giving it permission. I give you permission to release all that stagnancy that was probably created by me, by my tension, by my thoughts, by my clinging onto things that I can't change. So if there's a good spot that feels like the place where you'd like to enjoy those last 3 breaths, find that position and let the breath flow. Inhale. Exhale, support the spine through the rise. And one more shape before we come into a different arrangement of our body. Let the legs open and simply see how the body wants to release forward. Knees can absolutely be bent. Legs can be straight. This can be like the quality of chocolate slowly melting, or it could be more of an active quality. We won't be here that long. So just find a good way to ease into the last couple of good spots on the back. And then as we work our way in slowly, we'll eventually start to head toward a kneeling place so we can enjoy any type of spinal movement that feels good. This could be normal cat-cow up and down. It could be left and right. It could be the hips traveling forward and backward. Just ease into any of these spots that need stagnancy removed. Whatever we're doing, we'll take 2 more breaths. After which point, we'll lower down into Sphinx pose. With elbows right under the shoulders, the arms are making parallel lines. There's 2 ways we can approach the Sphinx pose today, depending on what the spine would like to do to receive that release of stagnancy. So option 1 is the more active option. The hands pull in toward your body without actually moving so that the heart can get pulled forward and through. So that's the more active variation. The more passive variation would be a complete collapse into the skeletal system, even perhaps the head completely dropping forward. Choose the variation that would be most helpful to your body at this moment. And know you can go back and forth if you decide to change your mind. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Feel the glutes relaxing. Feel the belly breathing into the earth. Be conscious about the head, whether it's lifting, whether you're maybe rolling around to loosen tightness, or perhaps it's dropping to stretch through the back of the neck. So consciousness in how we're choosing to do the pose and what effect that will have on our body. Three more breaths, right? When we finish the 3rd breath, slide the hands in under the shoulders. This will help us press back. Our knees are going to be wide as we head into child pose. This will help us to take a shoulder stretch while we're in child pose. First though, feel the hips sinking backwards. And so the back have a few moments to recover after the arch that we were just in. into the shoulder stretch. Left arm threads under the right armpit. With the forehead or the temple on the ground, imagine that's another place where we can let out a plug to allow thoughts to release directly into the earth. You feel the calmness that can take over when we just let it go. Another good inhale. And then with our exhale, unwind the shoulder. And we'll head to the second direction, threading the right under and through. Another beautiful inhale. Exhale, unwind. Give yourself a few more breaths with child pose, either arms forward or arms tucking at our sides. Good inhale. And then exhale. Support our body rising up. Getting the legs out from underneath us, they come forward. The hands planted behind us, start to walk them backwards until your shoulders are in a pretty good stretch. So we're not wanting to collapse the spine to get there. Instead, there's a lot of extension straightening through the spine to be able to get just into that perfect spot of the shoulders. We won't be here too long. Let's take about 5 good breaths for this area. One more good inhale. And then exhale, ease your way back up. As we're going to head down onto our back, make sure there's enough mat behind you. And then before we completely wrap up for the day, let's play with either full happy baby pose, grabbing outside edges of feet, or perhaps a variation grabbing onto shins and just rocking around on the hips. This happy baby could be stillness, or you could have rocking left and right, or extension, legs up and down. Imagine this as one more beautiful opportunity to get into some of the tightest spots of your body. So give it all the time it needs. And if your body naturally wants to head toward a last pose or two, before we end up in our final Shavasana, you can also take all the liberty you need to explore those last things today. Just keep on breathing and exploring until eventually your body feels so calm, so ready to release and breathe. No rush to get to Shavasana. Not at all. Take all the time you'd like. Also, no dictation on what Shavasana has to look like today. You could have feet in cobbler's pose through Shavasana today. You could have feet planted. You could have straight legs. There's all sorts of options. Choose a Shavasana that your body would love. Would say thank you for doing it this way. As we're mentally starting to head in toward our Shavasana shape, this calm relaxation we have at the end of our class, allow ourselves to scan through the body and feel how much has changed from the beginning of class to now. If we were stagnant at the beginning of class, notice how this stillness does not exactly equate stagnancy anymore. It's different because our muscles all over the body have had this chance to stretch and move. So this type of stillness in Shavasana is different than stagnancy because there's more of an empty quality, not so full of tension and thoughts. It's released, relaxed, receptive, open. So letting your breath take over, just like how we started, begin to ease into this new quality of stillness with our beautiful deep inhales and exhales. Here we begin to deepen the inhales and the exhales. Introducing little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. At some point, taking a beautiful fetal position off to one side. Perhaps you'll enjoy this spot for another 3 or 4 breaths until you feel ready to rise, sooner or later. We join our hands together in front of our heart. Within our own body, we now feel the difference between stagnation, and calm stillness. So with this contrast, with this awareness to lead us into the rest of this day and the next few days, we keep the idea in the back of the mind, how can I have more calm stillness instead of stagnancy? And so with this distinction to lead us on into the rest of our day, we'll wrap up the time we got to share together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.